Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fredericksburg Strong. This is our very first podcast. We're going to talk about business. And right now, we're going to talk about the most important part, I think, about business, especially in the COVID era, is how can companies market themselves and be authentic and present their product in a way that helps bring their message forward in a time that's incredibly confusing. And joining me right now is Joan. She is with JVS Marketing. Welcome.
Good morning, Tim. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on. Joan, we've worked together for a long period of time. You've got a lot of great ideas. Let's talk about marketing in the COVID era. We've got a lot of small businesses around us that have talked to us or look at what we're doing, and they wonder about how successful a car dealership can be in marketing. How can they take some of the lessons that we've learned in this marketing in marketing and apply it in that small business setting?
Uh, Geez, there's lots of things that a small business can do that is similar to maybe what you do, but in a little bit of a different way. The automotive industry is pretty sophisticated in their advertising, and they already have a lot of things in place. So to pivot and change the message is a little bit easier for them because they do have a team. They have an advertising agency. They have people to bounce ideas off of. They have data to look at. So the message is a little bit different or the process is a little bit quicker for them. But when you're a small business, right? You're the local restaurant down the street. Man, this time, first of all, it's unprecedented. It's horrible what we're going through, and small businesses are just trying to hold on. They're just trying to stay in business, right? So what do? They have to pivot. They've got to change their business model. Restaurants have been, some had to close their doors, unfortunately. Some pivoted and started doing the delivery, started doing the curbside. So I think they started you have to list, here's the key. You have to listen to what your customers are asking you. If you look at just the data from Google, any small business person can go on a free site called Think with Google. They can look at all the data and all the insight that Google has compiled, right? We know right now the number one question being asked on Google is, are you open? Is your opening safe for me to come? So for Tim, for you guys pivoted very quickly on that. You showed the sanitation. You put the web banner on your site. You did an email blast. You took all the components that you normally do traditional advertising in, and you just changed your message. No different for a small business, right? Google My Business is critical for them, and this is free. They can go online, set up a Google My Business account, and very easily update their hours. They can post something. They can go to their Facebook page and post something. So there's lots of different things that they can do without even spending any money. So I think it just takes some time to sit back and look at what you're doing, and then how do you change the message?
So you brought up Google My Business, which I think is important to talk about. If you're a small business and you go out there, you have to have a website, and you may think, okay, I have to have a Facebook page, and you think, okay, maybe I'll have a Twitter account, maybe an Instagram, maybe a Pinterest. They've heard of these things; they're out there, and they don't. And it's hard to say which one you need, which you don't. But Google My Business is probably right up there. Right, I mean, I would probably say right up there with having a Facebook page.
Oh, I'd say it's even like right now. Yeah,
probably more important. Sure. It's probably more important because Google My Business is almost like a website for a company who doesn't have a website. It's a website search page, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's critical. I mean, so what we did is we contacted our local chamber when all this started happening, and we were like, hey, I have staff here, and yes, we still have work to do. But we offered our staff to actually set up Google My Business pages for businesses that didn't even know what it was. because we realized it was so critical for the way people search, right? So if you're not coming up in the map and you're not verified by Google, you're, you know, these are critical things that now are making small businesses take a step back and go, all right, what do I need to be doing in the digital world that I may not have been doing because you had the business, right? But now things have changed, just like things changed in 2008, there's another economic crisis then, and people change, things will change. And this is so critical for small businesses now to look at their website, update their website, get the Google My Business page, update the Google My Business page. I mean, they can go in, change hours, put messages. And the other part too, Tim, that is really, really important, and you specifically do a phenomenal job with this, is reading your reviews and answering the questions that your customers ask. I mean, here's free data, free information about your customers. You could, Tim, like you can go in and you can look at a chat transcript, right? And you could look at, what are people asking me now? The first thing I tell the small business community, look at the questions your customers are asking you and answer the questions. If you don't have advertising dollars to put into digital display or a YouTube video or whatever it is, just go to your Facebook page, post the question, answer the question, go to your Google My Business and answer the questions. This is critical right now, and the ones that do this right now will be the ones that can open more quickly. If they do nothing, it's going to be much harder to get back in.
So, and on the Google My Business, we talk, the things that go on there. You mentioned the hours. You can put pictures. You can upload. You answer your reviews that are on there. Your out. We mentioned the hours. So it's more than just. It's almost like a sub search area for people to go to, especially in the search era. It's a big banner that shows up. It's got your maps. It's got other links for you. So it's an opportunity to really get your business known and give Google more information about your business to make you more relevant.
Exactly. And that's
so I
what
think
businesses
I
need
think
to
that's
understand.
amazing.
It's huge. It's huge, and it's free, right? And honestly, if somebody needs help setting it up, they can call me. I'll help them set it up. I
Now
mean,
they can also
that's
but they could separate that, can't they? They could separate it from, like, if they've got a catering business inside of their restaurant, they can put a Google My Business page for their catering business as much as they could for, say, their restaurant business, correct?
if it has, Google's a little bit tricky on the way you verify the business, so it has to have like a separate address.
Okay.
They do some tricky verification stuff, but it couldn't hurt to just post that picture that you have a catering business, So yeah.
So now the other part we talked about is we've talked about not having a lot of money, and obviously with smaller businesses that may be shut right now, may not have the governor or whatever may have said that the business isn't deemed not essential. They're struggling in terms of what they're going to do with dollars when they come out. So how can I, if how can I set up an ad campaign if I'm a small restaurant or a clothing store or uh, there's so many different specialties that are out there. I mean, I walked by and a tailor was shop was closed. How can they, for a small amount of money, really get a big impact on their advertising dollar?
Well, for small business, I would recommend they go into the Facebook advertising world. Now, there's two parts to that, right? So they can just, first of all, they need to have a Facebook business page, not their personal page. They create a Facebook business page and they want to make sure that all the information on there is relevant and up to date. And they can actually schedule some posts and post some information about, are they open? When are they going to open? What are their specials are? Just get familiar with the organic posting. And then I would recommend that they go into the paid Facebook realm, because what folks don't understand is, or businesses don't understand, when you post something, it's only going to 6% of your fee, sometimes even less, right? But when you place an ad, the reach is much greater, right? So I could put in my zip code and just go within, say, 10 miles of my zip code. So I can get a much broader reach. Also, Facebook, once you start doing that and you put your, there's lots of parts to this, but basic Facebook pixel has to be on your website, the Facebook page, creating a business account, and creating some ads that you can actually. This blows my mind that Facebook even has this because it's geared for small business, right? So I could create 3 or 4 ads for you, Tim, which by the way, I have a test going on for you. And we're going to allow the Facebook algorithm to take a look at these 3, 4 ads. I press the button literally, and the Facebook algorithm actually comes back and it tells me what your customers relate to best. So I can change a headline, I can change a photo, I can change a button where a button can say, call me or book now. And I can throw all this into what they call dynamic advertising, let it run through the algorithm, and it comes back and it tells me the best way to reach your customers or what your customers are responding to. That is phenomenal information, and it doesn't cost you any more money. So a small business, literally, I have a local restaurant here who spends $200 a month in his Facebook ad spend. Now we create a couple ads for him and we put it in. We manage the account for him, but he's still in business today. He's still in business. We already have something created for him for Mother's Day, curbside takeout. I mean, it has changed his business. Now, he came to us 6 months ago when he realized that it's been in business for 25 years, but things started to drop, right? Because you have a lot of chains coming into the area, chain restaurants. So the first thing we did, update his website, Facebook business page, Google My Business. He now has 3 times the amount of people coming to his website. Not only that, but his click-through rate on Facebook is over the top. It's way above average. And why? Because we started throwing in different photos and finding out what customers were responding to. And here's the interesting thing. There was one photo that was the front of the restaurant. And I said to my staff, do not put that picture in. I don't like it. Nobody's going to respond to that. And they vetoed me, and I've learned to listen. And we kept the photo in. Guess what? It ranked in one of the top photos that people clicked on. So here you go. It's AI, it's algorithms. You're not paying extra when you put your ad in to get this information. It's there. All the demographics are there. The insights are there. You just have to read it, and you got to pay attention to it, and you got to be able to respond to it.
So you've mentioned a lot of information there, and I want to kind of break some of this down. So you've used some words that I don't know if everyone's really going to grasp in some of this, and that's Facebook pixel. What's a Facebook pixel? If I'm out there and you said Facebook pixel, what's a pixel? And so how do I put that on my website, or what does that do?
Yeah. Okay, so it's gathering data of people that go to your website. So you're really just putting a line of code on your website that's generated from Facebook, and you're putting it onto your website so that you're starting to gather data of people that are going from your Facebook ad to your website. There are YouTube videos on it. It's not that difficult, but whoever's managing your Facebook ad account should be able to do it for you very quickly. The only time we get caught into when it becomes difficult is when people don't have their passwords. So that's a really critical thing to gather at this point. So if you're not in this game yet, get that folder and put all your passwords in it, because whoever's going to help you maneuver through this is going to will need to access your accounts, and you have to give them permission to access your accounts. So don't panic if they ask you to do that. It is part of the process. It's really not that difficult. And like I said, there are some videos on it. I actually think we even have some videos made on it. So
Okay, so it's a relatively so that's something that's not it shouldn't be scary. That should be something people can
no,
go,
it's not.
okay, I can look this up.
Hmm.
It's easy. When we start talking about the AI and the algorithms and all of the click
Hmm.
through rates, these are things that people can actually research and get information
Hmm.
about that is provided by Facebook free of charge.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
so when someone's looking to do this, it's not like, you have to have a degree in marketing from an Ivy League school or have gone to Wharton. It's something that you could sit
Mm-mm.
there and look at yourself, read about,
Hmm.
and get information to
Hmm.
use.
Hmm.
So now we're
Lots of
going to
free
talk.
information. Yes.
So a lot of that's paid, and we can come back and talk to that. But let's talk about
Hmm.
boosting that organic. Let's talk about how
Hmm.
they can get a real good bang out of their organic, because
Hmm.
organic Facebook is really word of mouth. So that
Hmm.
old time, hey,
Yes.
tell 5 people, tell 2 people. That's the best
Hmm.
thing for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Businesses can really impact that organic by
Hmm.
getting people to share their site, to like their
Yeah.
post. Let's
Yeah.
talk about how they can boost that organic, that free stuff. What do they need to do on a
Right.
consistent basis?
Right. So let's really break it down and make it simple, right? So say I'll use a restaurant again. I've decided that I'm doing curbside delivery, and I've created a post on Facebook letting my customers know that, right? Facebook gives it's very intuitive. So it will give you an opportunity to say, boost my post, right? So make sure you have your credit card aligned with your Facebook account and boost it for $10, $20. Your reach is going to go way exponentially more than just your feed. So I encourage people all the time. You have an organic post as a business owner, you should be doing this, right? It's very little money for $10, $20 a post. Put it in there. Let it boost. It will ask you, do you want this to be shared as a boost? Do you want people to go to your website? Where do you want them to go? So make that decision, but put the $10, $20 in there and let it go, you know? And then if you have an extra $100, create an ad. You take the same information and create an ad. It's 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 pretty intuitive for a person who's not even familiar with advertising marketing. Just those two basic things could change a business's destination at this point. And if they're not doing it, they should at least be posting and boosting, and then maybe get the money aside for when you're ready to open and really hit hard. That's what I would recommend.
So when you think about it now, you've got the ability to do video on Facebook. You've got the ability to do pictures on Facebook. I'm a small business. I'm sitting there. I know here at the dealership, we're posting 13 to 14 times a week. And most of it's not car business related. A lot of it is just general information
Mhm.
about what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm a small restaurant,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to get myself known out there. What are some great videos or pictures to do? I mean, obviously the food would come to mind, the ambiance of the restaurant,
Mhm.
the things that we have.
Mhm.
You mentioned the
Mhm.
cleanliness. Now is maybe going back and taking video of the kitchen a good idea? I mean, what are some of these things that would be a good idea?
I don't think it can hurt if your kitchen staff is showing the gloves on, or the wait staff is wearing a mask. I think it's good to show people that because that's what they're asking, right? They're going on Google. Is your place of business safe, right? Here we go. We go back to the philosophy of answer the question, right? What's the question? Question is it safe? How do you put everybody's mind at ease, right? So if you're showing, fogging every night with the disinfectant, or if you're showing everybody has the mask on, or geez, what if all your staff was tested? That's that's even bigger, right? But that's another whole segment, right? We won't get into that, but I think there are ways to do it. They could just pick up their iPhone, do a quick clip, post it up there and just say, hey, we're ready. We're ready to launch. We've taken every precaution possible. We're following the CDD guidelines and, do a quick scan. It doesn't have to be a lot, 5, 10 seconds, anything, because people want to know. they want to come to your restaurant. They want to go back out. Everybody's got cabin fever right now. They're, here where I'm in Florida, people can't even go to the beach. It's bizarre. And everybody's chomping at the bit for that moment where they can go out. I mean, even my 83-year-old parents, I had to threaten to take the keys away. So, it's just, they're, and I guarantee you what they'll do is they'll probably bring their own silverware. Who knows? But whatever makes them comfortable, they can't wait to go back out and do it. So I think you just have to be prepared for that and just show it and be ready to launch with the information. Don't wait till after the fact to get it done.
So when you think about all of these small businesses out there, the restaurants that you're talking about, they're taking these photos, they're doing all of these things that can do it. Then that's when they look for those boosts. Which ones are people looking at, right? But if they ask their friends and family to help them share, that adds even more to it, correct? Because the more messages shared, the more it shows up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we've had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we've got Joan back on the line with us, and we're doing it through an audio connection and video, so it might be a little bit of lag. Joan, we left off talking. We talked about your credentials in marketing. So let's just talk. Obviously you went to school for marketing, and how long have you been doing this?
Oh, gosh, Tim, I'm going to show my age now by telling you this, right? It's like probably a good 35 years, right? I've been doing this. So from, the beginning of traditional marketing, and I've seen it all the way through till today, and keeping up every day. I mean, this industry has changed unbelievably in such a short amount of time, right? But at the same time, it's so much more exciting because now I actually get to analyze what I'm doing. And that's the beauty of everything today, whether you're a small business just doing Facebook or you're a larger business like yourself that's, adding in your pay-per-click budgets and your digital display and your programmatic, right? Everything now is coming down to data. So it's not enough just to create an ad and place an ad like it was years ago. Well, here's my TV ad, and you hope that somebody saw it and they came into your shop, right? Today, we can do very specific ads that are reaching customers that have an intent to buy your product. So much different, so much more exciting. May not seem exciting to the younger people that are just now getting into this game, but for me to see it from 35 years, 40 years ago to now, it's mind-boggling. I mean, this is the time. I know it's a crazy pandemic, economic crisis right now, but honestly, if you have any type of entrepreneurial spirit or drive, now's the time to get in. Now's the time. Launch something. Do it. Why not?
It's funny you should talk about, how things have changed over time. I actually found the old marketing plan for the store from 1994. So one of the managers had left it in we were going through the archives upstairs, and I saw the ad plan and how much money was being spent in newspaper versus what we spend today. And I am not knocking newspaper. I'm not knocking traditional media in any way, shape, or form. But this shift has almost changed. What was looked at the early stages of the internet was very minor. And what was being spent on newspaper was astronomical.
Right.
It's inverted.
Right.
So that inversion does change how people market and what the skills they need to learn. So if someone's, we talked about offline, we talked about our kids and my son graduating. What does a new graduate who's graduating in the hardest time ever to graduate, what skills do they need to bring in to marketing in today's age?
What I recommend to people is if they haven't already, and I actually have a new graduate here who graduated with a degree in advertising from a very good school. And for the last 2 months, I've had him basically getting all his certifications certifications are huge right now. So honestly, I really don't even want to talk to somebody unless you've gone online and you've done Google Analytics program, you've done the Facebook Blueprint program, which, by the way, these are all free. This is all free. So, I mean, I have my kids who are in college already doing this. I'm like, I don't really care what kind of job you're going to get. If you don't understand consumer behavior and you don't understand that Google, Amazon, and Facebook are pretty much ruling this world right now with data, you have to understand where all that is coming through, no matter what job you have, right? Because the critical thinking is what's going to set you apart from everybody else. Anybody can place a post or, put a little ad up. It's the person who can read the data, interpret the data, match the data to the message, right? Those will be the ones who will rise above and get the better job. If I'm looking at two resumes and one doesn't have any certifications on it, I guarantee you the one who has the certifications is going to be the one that I'm going to look at right now. So that's how I look at it from an advertising agency perspective. I want to see the kid who's coming out of college that put a little bit more effort in, got the certifications, and did some sort of internship. They've got to go into the real business world. I don't care if they're paid, not paid. Do it over Christmas break. Do it over your summer break. You need experience. You need experience. You have to know how to come in and talk to people, how to pick up the phone and talk to a client, how to meet with a client, what you should say, what you shouldn't say. Those are all things that you learn as you go through the business world. You're not going to know all that when you come in, but learn as much as you can, get as much experience as you can before that first job. So if you're sitting at home now and you're a graduate, I'd say get online, learn Google Analytics, learn pay-per-click, learn Facebook Blueprint. If you're in the advertising world, that's what you should be doing.
So, one thing about that we start talking about who you would hire. You're a small business owner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everything that we're talking about are things that impact you right now. Your staff, you've got, 16 people total?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So very similar to what a restaurant would have or anyone else would have.
Yeah.
So with that, in that small business realm, the things that you're talking about are the same things that you're doing right now to expand your business.
Absolutely. So I have two salespeople, one fresh out of college. I'm making sure that he is trained like on steroids right now. All his certifications are in. He's probably wishing I didn't come in the office today.
Have you done your certifications?
His certifications, his Google Analytics certification, his Facebook Blueprint certification. There's so many out there, right? My senior salesperson, I'm like, I don't want you out there cold calling right now. This is not the right time to cold call, right? So what is the time? What can we use right now that will keep us on that edge and be in the forefront when things open up, right? So continue with your networking, whether it's virtual or not. Put yourself out there with content. Offer to be on somebody's podcast or, virtual event. Post content. Go on to LinkedIn and connect with as many people as you can and share as much information as you can. I have the salespeople setting up Google My Business pages for people for free. Hey, I've got staff that can do this. Let us help you so that you know what you need to do to be able to start launching, right? That's the message right now is what do I need to do at this moment to be able to launch when my doors open, right? If you have the resources to hang on to your staff, that's awesome. If that's the case, then start cross-training. We've done that in-house, and now I may have a graphic artist now that knows how to upload a banner that maybe didn't do that part before, right? Now's our time. So we get everybody trained, we start cleaning up processes, we're ready to launch. So I think that's really my advice to any business right now because it is going to change. It is going to open up. It's going to be a different world. Just like 9/11, just like 2008, things will change. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got to pivot. You've got to pivot, and you've got to move with it. Now's not the time to put your head in the sand. Now's the time to really be looking at everything and preparing.
I'm a rather big hockey fan, and one of the things they talk about is when you're in a slump, you just got to keep your feet moving, and that just means you just got to keep the action. You got to keep moving. You got to keep trying to move to the next level, make things happen. And that is the same thing here. You're talking about is you can't just sit back and wait and hope. You've got to be able to get out there and find that niche, find that small thing that you can grab onto.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And sometimes too, Jim, I feel like in times like these, it pushes you into another realm. Or, you may find in the automotive industry now, you may be doing things a little differently, and it may turn into a whole, separate item, right, on the way you did before. Maybe it's the sanitizing of the cars, right? That wasn't really a big deal before. Now it's a line item on your products, right, on your services.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what's going to happen is things are moving. It's just that you can't be the one that just sits there and goes, I'm not going to do that. That's not, that's not what my customers want. Well, you find out what they want and react to it if you want to stay in business.
So what's funny is that the other day, I've told the story before, I'll say it again. I keep a lot of books about the industry, a lot of information that's put out there, and I go through and I read it. And the other day I started throwing it all out. And people go, what are you doing? And I go, it's useless. It is stuff that was written pre this. The business is completely different. Doesn't matter what a great idea was 6 months ago. It's time to find new ideas that go on. Yeah. So we have a business in town, and I was incredibly impressed with the courage that this owner did. It's a restaurant. One of his staff members was diagnosed with the coronavirus, and he immediately shut his doors for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I think it takes a lot of courage to go out and tell everybody that that's what happened. Yeah. And then it takes courage to shut your small business down. In those cases, let's talk about that. If I have a business with it, is being upfront the best thing to do? Is it best to, say, hey, look, it's happening to everybody? What's the right message for companies, or what's the right belief they should have going into this?
That's a tough one. I'm just going to go on my personal opinion is, and this is pretty much how I lead my business and my life. I would lead with integrity, and I would lead with honesty no matter where it went, because people don't want to be deceived, right? So I think your best bet is just to hit it head on. Hey, this happened. We're dealing with it. We want to make sure that this person stays well. We're doing everything we can to help them and their family. We're put the rest of our staff in quarantine and, say a prayer for us. I need everybody behind us. Help us get through this, right? I mean, this is unprecedented, right? Nobody has ever seen anything like this. And I think the empathy there is huge, and I think honesty. That's
authentic.
How I would do it.
I mean, everything being authentic. And I think you said something earlier, which I think is probably more important than ever before. When we start to come out of this, there's not going to be any business that hasn't been impacted with somebody who may or have had corona. Yeah. Unfortunately, one of our team members who was an at-risk person, he went home and he did get it. And, we took extra time to sanitize his office, to go through and look at everything that he's done and reach out. But that does get a level of fear that goes on. And again, that's why, but to your point about, videos about what you do, even to our own team members, we went back through, talked about, how to be safe, what the right things to do are. And when when it's time to go back out into the marketplace, am I going to want to go to a restaurant that feels crowded, that feels cramped? How are they taking that care to make their customers feel comfortable? I think that is a great message to get out.
Yeah, just tell them. Take a 5-second video. Just shoot something and let people know what you're doing, they're going to want to know. They're going to want to know before they come back in. Plain and simple. Think of yourself as a consumer, right? I mean, it's no different. It's no different. I'm going to want to know, you know, is the kitchen safe? Is the staff safe? And here's the other thing, too, that I find amazing. I actually feel a lot of empathy for the people at our grocery store and Walmart that are still working through this. And they're just now talking about giving them masks. Like, I think that's, you know, from a perspective of a business owner, and Tim, and I know that you feel this way too, you don't want to put your employees at harm risk, but, you know, you don't want them to be at a risk either, right? So it should be looked at from both ways. Like, I need to protect my employees, and I also need to protect my customers. So it's got to work on both ends. It can't just be one end, right? Because
No, it can't. It can't. You have to be concerned about your own team, because they can't take care of your customers
Absolutely.
if they don't feel comfortable. You know, being open and being upfront and getting information out as quick as possible to your team is important.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
I went into Lowe's the other day, and again, I still think it takes a lot of courage to be in any of these businesses that have been deemed essential that are open.
Yeah.
You know, I look at our technicians when they go get into consumers' cars. They don't know where that car's been. They don't know where those customers have been. They don't know, you know, what the condition. They know the condition of the car. They don't know if they've been sneezing in the car. And we've taken, we've taken steps to help protect them, but it's still a risk in anything that they do. And then when you're mentioning going into other stores, you know, you're in a Walmart. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of people. And, you know, or you go into a Lowe's, or you go into a Home Depot, or wherever, which stores they are. But, you know, the funny thing.
It's going to change. Things will change. You know, will the curbside pickup stay in place? I think so. I think people got used to it now. Like, it's like, wow, I love this. I can just order online. I don't have to worry about, you know, the person at the register, right? That I'm worried about them and myself, and I can just place my order online, pull up, and somebody can put it in my car. That's something that didn't exist, you know, 6-8 weeks ago. Now it does. That's going to change business models again. Just like every, 9/11 changed things, the way we travel. 2008 changed the way you apply for a mortgage. It's not going to be any different.
What I think is interesting about what you just said, it's in that entrepreneurial spirit, a lot of small businesses have had a chance to pivot, have had a chance to have some entrepreneurial spirit, and have come up with some unique ideas that actually makes them competitive against some of your big box retailers, or even against some of your online retailers, where, you know, that Amazon experience they're getting locally. That's a huge opportunity for them.
Huge opportunity. I think you just have to be in this with your eyes wide open. But, you know, I mean, I get it. It's hard to do. It's a horrible time. You know, but you've got to pick yourself up and keep moving. You've got to, you know, get on a podcast, listen to it, do some research on your own, see where it takes you. You know, sometimes things fall into your lap all of a sudden, and you're like, wow, you know, like the surf shop down the street is now making masks. I mean, they're so busy, you can't get one for a month. So, who knows? You know, it opens up your eyes like, wow, if we could do this, we could probably do other things.
Yeah.
You know? And,
so I do have a question for you. I don't want to, I know we're running short on time, but I have to get there. You're a small business, and you work with your husband. So who's in charge?
Well,
who thinks they're in charge?
That's probably a better way to put it. So, if you ask my staff, they're like, Joan has the title of VP and Ron has the title of president, but we think it's the other way around. is what they tell me. So,
But it is
you know,
JVS Marketing, and if I'm not mistaken, those aren't Ron's initials.
those are my initials. Yes, yes. But I have to say, you know, Ron is he is the ultimate ad guy. You know that. And
Oh, yeah.
There's not too many people like him. He definitely knows what he's doing. We complement each other in the business because he's so like high level creative, and I'm much more strategic and processy. You know, I like to call myself the interceptor. You know, so as I hear what they're working on, I'll be like, oh no, I don't think so. You know, or what's the process for that? Or with Ron, I have to say, is that in the queue? You know, is anybody watching that? Because you know how he operates. He's, you know, kind of.
Oh no, he's definitely 1,000 miles an hour with his hair on fire. Someone's got to keep him on the someone's got to keep him on the street. That's for sure. This is the path that you're going to go.
Right.
Well,
He's like the tornado, and I'm in the back going, all right, we need to do this, we need to do that, you know, and then get it to the bookkeeper and get it to the art department. And he thinks that if he just calls out his office to have something created, that everybody knows what he's talking about. So I'm the interceptor here.
So one's the right brain and one's the left brain. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So that does make it work.
It is kind of interesting because I do have a lot of creativity in me as well. So, but I like to attack it from a different way than Ron does. So sometimes we like to do tests and just see who's right.
Well, which is good. I mean, and you've made it work, and that's a great thing.
Well, that's
Joan,
just it, and we debate it. You know, we get in there and we whiteboard it. He likes to do it on the computer, and I'm like, no, I got to whiteboard it. And we go in that conference room, and he's on his computer, and I whiteboard it. And it'll take us a couple hours of, you know, but that's how we come up with a better idea.
Well, now that I know that, I probably should start doing the idea sessions with you because I'm a whiteboard person. I draw it out too. Maybe I should tell Ron, hey, wait, I got to get a whiteboard. So
yeah, exactly.
Joan, this has been great. I appreciate your time. I know we've had some technical difficulties. Thank you so much. I think the advice that you've given has been real important for small businesses, and I can't wait to see how all of them are able to rebound. We're here supporting our local small businesses, and I want to throw out a shout out to a few of them: Malawi's Pizza, Orofino, Metro Diner. There's quite a few others that have reached out to us. I can say that these small businesses, these restaurants, these are places that we all like to go to, that we enjoy. They make the town what it is. When you're out there looking for someplace fun to go, please shop at these places. Do not shy away from looking at these small businesses. And Joan, we're going to have you and Ron back later talking about other sorts of ideas, if that's okay.
Sure, we'd love to. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us.
All right, guys.
This has been a Fredericksburg Strong podcast on local businesses and what they can do. Thank you very much.